What's up friends, Dan here. In this video, I wanted to go into two different business models that you're probably considering, and that is single family house flipping and multifamily syndication investing. My name is Daniel Kohanowitz, and I am a millionaire real estate investor at just 23 years old. I've done over 100 real estate transactions. I've done a ton of single family house flips, as well as flipped a 34 unit multifamily complex just last year, so that I can tell you where we made a 3x profit. We've got a return of $450,000 off that deal, which 300,000 of that was profit. I do have experience in talking about this. I have done both models, and I can tell you the pros and cons of both from personal experience. This is not me just talking out of my butt, and giving my theories. This is me actually doing it in real life and doing this business every day. I wholesale a ton of deals. We flip a ton of deals. I have a portfolio of about 30 rental properties right now at just 24 years old. So we're hustling every day, and I can tell you with great certainty the differences and what models you might want to get into from single family house flipping to multifamily real estate syndication. So some assumptions going into this video: you're probably looking at this business model because you may have, little to no money. If you have some money, awesome. You don't really need much money to get into these two businesses, but it definitely makes it a lot easier if you have some money to get into them. So first off, I want to go over some of the pros and cons of single family house flipping model. And I'm going to go into mainly flipping and not wholesaling, as I think that, flipping and the syndication model is similar in how it's operated, but there's a lot of nuances in the business. So with single family house flipping, there's some distinct advantages. So the first is you don't really need a lot of money to get into it, nor a lot of connections or experience, because there's lots of lenders out there that'll lend you 100% of purchase and rehab. You need very little money to get into house flipping, maybe as little as $0, even $10,000, $30,000, which may seem like a lot to some of you, but in the grand scheme of real estate, it's very little. And you can usually scrape by and get a deal done for probably $10,000. My partner, for instance, he got into flipping with literally no money out of his pocket because he partnered with me. I was able to front the money. We were able to do our deals together until he actually made enough money to where we could work together on all the deals. So he got into flipping with literally $0 out of his pocket and is now, close to a millionaire in real estate through it. So the advantages of this model are that it's very quick to make money. So, you're getting money in, a house flip probably takes 4 to 6 months from close to selling to an end buyer. You're churning your money relatively quickly. It could be faster, maybe as little as 2 months. And, as long as probably 6 months, our average transactions probably 3 to 4 months from beginning to end. You can make a lot more, money in the short term through this model because of these shorter time periods. So your average net on a house flip might be $20,000 to $40,000 in actual net profit, and you're getting that in cash at the end of the project for then you reinvest it into more house flips, or you can do something else. The skills that you have to get to do this model are you're gonna have to learn how to find deals, whether that's direct to seller or through wholesalers or real estate agents, something like that. You're going to learn how to raise money in the sense that you need to be able to find hard money lenders and potentially one partner to help you with the equity portion of your deals. You're gonna need to learn how to manage renovation costs. So if you have some kind of construction background or some project management experience, that's really gonna help when actually finding contractors and running a crew to get a house flip through completion. And then you're also gonna need to work with an agent to actually get it listed and sold to an end buyer. The model is very simple overall. If you can learn these 3 skills, which is deal acquisition, financing, project management, you can pretty much run a house flipping business. And doing this, you can easily make 6 figures a year just flipping, maybe a few houses a year, 5 or less, really, depending on how profitable each deal is. Now, this business is great. You can scale it basically to infinity, flipping more houses, building up your team. This is very scalable to $1 million a year in profit, $10 million a year in profit, even $100 million a year in profit. It's basically infinite. There's a lot of houses being traded. You can expand markets. It has basically infinite upside. It will get infinitely harder to scale though, as you have a lot of different transactions going on to scale this business. So if you're just getting started, I would highly recommend this strategy. This is what I do personally, as well as wholesaling. And this is how I've become a millionaire in real estate. So let's get on to multifamily investing, specifically with syndication, or there's other methods, but I'm going to focus on multifamily and syndication, as most people getting into this business have little to no money and they want to try to buy apartments. They are, there's big folks in the business like Grant Cardone, Ken McElroy, to name a few. Almost it seems like everybody is wanting to syndicate apartment buildings and buy huge apartment buildings because they're much bigger deals, and so therefore there must be a lot more money in them, right? So guys, last year me and my partner, as well as we brought on another partner, we actually bought and flipped a 34 unit apartment complex. The plan was to buy it. We got a great deal on it. We bought it. We were gonna renovate it. We were going to, manage it properly and actually almost double the value of the property from about $1 million to $2 million. And that is the plan. That's still the plan for the property. We actually were able to exit. Our partner ended up wanting to buy us out of that project because he got some additional funds. So we tripled our money on that deal and were able to 3X. We netted about $450,000, $140,000 investment to do that deal. So, we underwrote it, did all the things. And let's talk about that business model. As it can be very profitable, but there are some pros and cons as well. So guys, one thing to consider is while multifamily is bigger in terms of the number of the dollar amounts, the zeros, the units, everything is bigger because you have a lot more units you're working with. You might be buying a 50, 100, 200, 1,000 unit complex, but at the end of the day, the financials are all the same. So guys, while your numbers may be bigger in terms of the units, you want to really focus in on what is your actual ownership percentage of that project and how much money are you personally actually going to net. Because, if you're buying a 100 unit complex and you only own 1% of the ownership of that project, it's functionally the same as you owning a one house 100%. And so keep that in mind when looking at multifamily, as even though the numbers may be bigger, there are some disadvantages that unless you own a significant stake in that project, you're probably really not going to make any more money than you would just flipping a house. So the pros are you get massive economies of scale. They're stable cash flow. They're assets that are traded based on economic fundamentals like net income. When underwriting and buying them, if you're using a bank, you're going to make sure that you're going to be getting good deals, and you can force appreciate these properties to actually, with your skills, with your, by managing the property, improving the property through construction or renovations, you can actually force appreciate a property if you're getting a great deal and basically make money that way. You can make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars at scale by repeating this across every unit in the multifamily complex that you're buying. The pros are you can make a lot of money on a single deal. Like we did, we made almost $500,000 or $1/3 in profit on our first multifamily deal that we did. So those are some of the pros. Some of the cons are you're going to have higher initial investments, most likely, unless you're content with owning a small fraction of the actual ownership of the property. You're probably going to need to invest significant amounts of your own money, typically starting in the hundreds of thousands to actually make it worthwhile. Now, if you're just getting started and your plan is to stick with the business, of course, you're going to make money. You can then continue to reinvest and get that experience. And then you can, actually make more and more money per deal because you have more and more money invested. And therefore, as over time, you will do very well in this business model. Another big con with this business model is a lot more complex, especially at the beginning. You have to learn a lot more things because the dollar amounts are bigger. Properties have more variables. There's a lot more things you have to do to get financing and partners and things like that. It can be challenging to learn all this stuff immediately and implement it because there's far more moving pieces than simply flipping a house. The other big con, guys, is that the deals are actually very, very slow compared to single family house flipping, whereas our, an average deal might take 4 months or 6 months to complete from close to close. Your average deal in multifamily is probably going to be, 2 to 3 years at the minimum. And that's just due to even when you improve a property to actually realize those gains and sell it, that's usually a minimum 2-year process, if not 3 years. And most projects are projected to take 5 to 10 years. So if you're investing in one of these deals, you may not actually see any money, any profit from these deals for up to 5 to 10 years. So you're basically either going to have to be doing a ton of deals, making syndication fees and management fees to keep yourself afloat day to day, or you're going to have another part-time or full-time job just to keep yourself alive while you wait for these deals to mature. So what are the skills that you have to be a great multifamily investor? Well, first and foremost, of course, is finding deals. Now, that's the same with single family. It's also the same with multifamily. Now, the way you'd find deals is different. You can network with brokers. You can actually go direct to owner and make relationships with other multifamily owners to actually buy deals directly from them. Those are the two main ways that you're going to find deals in multifamily investment real estate. The other big skill you're going to have is being able to underwrite the property financially, put together financing, work with banks, and work with other investors for them to invest capital in your deals, especially if you're broke or have little money. It's a necessity that you're going to need to be finding other investors to put up $100,000, $200,000, $300,000+ into your deal, so that way you can actually get it done. You're going to have to get really good at fundraising. The other big skill is managing the property through both actually managing in terms of the tenants and managing in terms of any renovations that the property might need. You're going to need to be a project manager as well as a good property manager. Now, at a high level, you can usually hire these out, but you need to know enough to be able to make sure that the people you're working with actually can operate the property effectively. So guys, to cap it all off, should you get into multifamily or single family? Well, it's up to you guys. You kind of heard my take on it. I think both work very well. I've done both. I've personally gone the route of the single family wholesaling and flipping route, as I think that it's easier to scale initially and easier to expand as you make a lot more money day to day. You can scale it up faster, but there's guys that I know that they've gone all in on multifamily. They syndicate, they make fees, they make their daily living doing that. And in the long run, they may be doing better than me. And at some point, I may get into multifamily investing when I have enough capital to where I just can't even deploy it across enough single family properties to where I have to buy a multifamily property for me to wrap my head around the actual investment. So guys, from that, please drop a comment in the comment section below, like the video, and let me know what you want to get into down in the comments below. I'm Daniel Kohanowitz, and I thank you. See you in the next video.